Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Ramsey, and I'm here at Wake in San Francisco. Wake is a nonprofit organization, and Tech2Empower is our initiative for nonprofit organizations to get support in technology and communications. And I'm here with my colleague, Gianna.
Hi everyone, I'm Gianna. I work here at Wake with marketing and project management also, and I'm super excited to meet you all soon in March.
Thanks, Gianna. And Gianna is a really important part of our team. She's originally from Brazil and is here with us for at least 1 year, hopefully longer. So if you apply for the program and are selected to participate, you'll get to meet Gianna. She'll be working with all of the teams who are coming for Tech2Empower extensively. So we just wanted to say hello, and now we'll get started with sharing information. However, again, feel free to ask questions throughout the webinar via chat or with your mic. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the video so you can see the slides more easily. Okay, let's get started. So this is the agenda for our session today. First, we'll talk about what is the program, give you all of the information that you need to understand what we'll be doing through Tech2Empower and what benefits there are to participating. Then we'll talk about how the program works. We'll talk through the dates where the program will be held and the agenda for the 3-day program this year. We'll talk through the application, eligibility, selection, and we'll talk a bit about the participation and contribution and travel and accommodation. And then about the Impact Challenge team projects, which I'm sure there are lots of questions about if you've already seen the information about the program. And then we'll talk about the opportunity for an Impact Fellowship following Tech2Empower in March. And we'll open it up for Q&A at the end, but again, feel free to ask questions as we go through. So welcome everyone, and thank you for being here. Okay, so what is Tech2Empower USA? So this is the second year of Tech2Empower for the US, and the program's a bit different. We have a few participants from last year on this call, so it has changed a bit based on learnings and feedback. This year, it's a 3-day program, including a hackathon-style event, which is a full day of the program. So the program will convene in San Francisco around International Women's Day, which is March 8th. So during the 3-day event, we'll have 2 days of learning new tech skills, meeting with influencers in tech for social impact, and benefiting from the expertise of women and men working in tech who are interested in supporting social justice. So that's the first 2 days, and we'll go into a little more detail about where you'll be each day. And then the 3rd day is focused on the hackathon event. And that entails hands-on work on the project of choice of the nonprofits use. So all the social justice and women's rights groups that apply for Tech2Empower must propose at least one technology or communications project within the application. You do have the option to propose up to 3 projects. However, we will only select one of them, and we will select them based on the skill sets of the advisor teams that we have that are coming to support these projects. So please feel free to submit up to 3 projects. We'll talk a little bit more about projects in a bit. And at the same time as you all are getting support to help advance your work, a really, really important part of this program is helping the tech community and the private sector, business sector, better understand the social justice issues that you're working on. In general, but also specifically in your geographic region. You know, they get involved as volunteers in this program because they're interested in supporting your work and want to learn more. So this is a really good opportunity to educate them and to hopefully gain allies within the tech industry and within this group. of people in tech who are interested in your work. So just to review the hackathon style event, each nonprofit team that comes, and we expect to have at least 20, will be assigned a dedicated team of tech advisors from leading companies to work collaboratively with you on a specific project, which will be defined in advance. Let us know if you have any questions. Okay, so how does the program work? So first of all is the nonprofit application and selection. So that's what is happening right now. The deadline is January 22nd. So that is a week from today. The application closes at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on January 22nd. So if you're on the East Coast, you have until around 3 a.m. on the 23rd. So within this application, you're going to propose your project. So something to think about in advance. We'll talk through the application more in a bit. Then once we receive your applications, we'll be reviewing them and then selecting the organizations that will be invited to attend Tech2Empower. Once we've selected the organizations, we will send out a notification to each applicant letting them know if they've been selected for Tech2Empower. Just before I go on, could someone just answer whether they're hearing okay and they can see the slides, just to make sure before I go through too much information? If someone could just reply in the chat that they're hearing everything. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Michelle and Wright. Really appreciate your reply. Okay, so once you receive a notification to whether or not you've been selected, if you have been selected to participate, then you'll have 1 week to confirm whether you are coming. And then there'll be a couple of documents to complete with your confirmation. Once we have all of the organizations selected and confirmed, we will start matching with Tech Advisor Impact teams. So the Tech Advisor Impact teams are composed of 4 to 5 women and men who are interested in supporting your social justice or women's rights tech or communications project. So we will match you with a team with the skill sets to support your project. However, they're experts in tech, but they're also, your peers in many ways. I mean, you're the experts in your work. You're the experts in social justice or whatever your project is that you're proposing. What they'll do is they'll bring a whole team, for one, that's willing to work for an entire day on your project, which I'm sure all of us could use some helping hands. But they'll also have, background and expertise that you likely don't have. So together, you'll be able to make good progress on a project. So that's the team, 4 to 5 experts from the tech industry. Then next is there'll be some preparation between the team matching and arriving in San Francisco, but not a lot. But you'll have to complete a few, one form with a few pieces of information that will allow us to explain your project in greater detail to the tech teams. You'll actually have a dedicated website page for your project and your team, where you and your advisor team will have access to all the project details. You'll have contact information to be in touch with each other, and they'll get to learn a lot more about your organization through that site. Then the next step is coming to San Francisco. So the arrival date would be March 5th. So we'd like everyone who's invited to participate to arrive by March 5th in the evening. The program will officially start on March 7th. And then the third day, so we'll have 2 days of workshops. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then the third day is the hackathon style event, the Impact Challenge, and that's on International Women's Day 2019, March 8th. And we're going to have a big celebration at the end of that day. It should be a lot of fun. We'll be at Google in San Francisco for that. And then following your time in San Francisco in March, there'll be an opportunity to apply for the Impact Fellowship. which we'll discuss a little more. And please let me know if there are any questions out there. Otherwise, we'll just continue. All right, so again, the dates. So the first day of the program is March 6th, starting first thing in the morning. This will be a day of community building, getting to know each other, icebreakers. We have some inspirational speakers coming that day, including, for those of you who were with us last year, influencer Cheryl Conti. If you don't know her, look her up. She's an incredible woman, and we've learned a lot from her last year. So she'll spend some time with us, as well as Beth Cantor, who's a leader in the space of technology and for nonprofits. And she'll spend some time with us as well, working on some things around digital strategy. But Beth has a lot in her toolbox. And so some of what we'll do once we select the organizations participating is get a better sense of your needs, and Beth will adjust her session based on the needs assessment we do with you all. Okay, so then day 2 of the program is March 7th, and that day we're going to spend almost the entire day until around 3 p.m. at YouTube, so a full day there. And during that time, we'll be doing some hands-on work on low or no-cost video production. So hands-on tools. For those of you who are with us last year, we're going to be there for a longer time this year. So we'll really get a chance to break out into groups, spend some time on YouTube channel promotion, but also focus really on video, creating low-cost and impactful videos. So I know all of us in the nonprofit space can really benefit from learning how to use videos more effectively. So that'll be our time at YouTube. And then after that, we have a really exciting evening where this will be, we'll move back to a new space in San Francisco. YouTube is just south of the city, so we'll take you down there, but then we'll be back in San Francisco for the Impact Challenge community event. So during this event, it'll be your opportunity to share about your work, about the work of your organization, the challenges you face in your work, and a bit about the project you'll be working on the following day at the Impact Challenge event. So this will be a community event where we'll invite all of the teams of advisors, as well as all of you, of course, and then lots of supporters who are interested in your work. And yeah, it'll be a great time for you to share and for the community to learn from you all. So that'll be in the evening. And then the next morning, we'll start right away with the hackathon style Impact Challenge event. So this will be, we'll get right down to business. The organizations participating will be, meet up with our teams immediately. You will have met them the night before, so you'll just kind of sit down at your tables and get started to work on your project and make a plan for the day, and accomplish as much as you can throughout the day on your project to move it forward. So that'll be really interactive. So it'll be hands-on. It'll be all of you on your computers if that's what's needed, and the advisors there, finding out what the issues are, working on them, looking for resources. We've had this experience with the tech teams now a few times. We just took a group to Peru to work with women social entrepreneurs on projects, and the advisor teams were really enthusiastic about working with these groups, but also really effective at being very strategic and quick about achieving the goals of the project. So we're really confident that they can do the same for you. And then that night we'll have a celebration, with music and food and fun, and celebrate all that we've accomplished and the friendships and networks and allies that we've met and built. Okay. Any questions out there? Okay, thank you. All right, moving right along. So this is the schedule in a different view in a way so that you can really see the content of what we're going to focus on. So the first category is the targeted technology and communications training and coaching. This part of it will be determined mainly from the needs assessment. In the application, you'll see there's a question about your training needs. But we'll go into a little more depth on that once you're selected to participate. So that's that piece. And then the second piece is some time with the influencers that I mentioned, Cheryl and Beth, and they'll target their talks and their support and trainings based on your needs. And then there's the full day at YouTube of video making and channel promotion. And then Google is going to be hosting the hackathon event. So we'll get a chance to visit Google. And we have tons of Googlers who are interested in meeting you and supporting your projects. There's a lot of interest. So that's one of the reasons we'll be at Google is because they're so interested in meeting you all. So some exciting people and events yeah, we hope that you'll be a part of this. Okay, let's get down to the eligibility and selection criteria. Okay, let's see. Anna, do you have a question? We see that your hand is up. That's Anna Mihari. If you have a question, you could, it looks like you're muted, so you could either unmute and speak up, or you're welcome to put your question in the chat, or maybe your hand was up accidentally. Either way, it's okay. Just let us know if you have a question. Okay, so eligibility. Let's get on to the nuts and bolts of this. Okay, so you have to be a registered nonprofit organization, and fiscally sponsored projects are also welcome to apply. You have to be based in and with primary beneficiaries in the United States and territories, and working primarily on women's rights and social justice issues, including, but not limited to, and you can see the list here, but reproductive justice, gender-based violence, immigrant rights, racial justice, LGBTQIA rights, voter rights, political participation, and others. So if you think you fit into the category, then certainly apply, because this is not an all-inclusive list. Let's see, it looks like there are 3. Is someone, let's see, do we have a chat question? Okay, if it looks like some question came up in the chat and then disappeared. So let us know if you're having any issues sending questions. Okay, next is the selection criteria. So the eligibility is just what you need to be eligible to apply and be selected. And then the selection criteria is more about how we narrow down to who we select to come. You know, I don't want to say that it's extremely competitive program, because we really don't know yet how many applications we'll have by the deadline. People do tend to apply towards the last minute, but I really encourage you, if you are considering this, to apply, because we really hope to include as many organizations as we can. Also, well, I'll go into the criteria first, and we can talk about that in a bit. But so selection criteria, the main thing is to have a clear and focused tech or communications project idea. And I know that can be a little overwhelming to think about it and to have to propose it in the application, but it really, when you propose it, you know, you can be short. It doesn't have to, you don't have to go into a ton of detail, because we will come back to you if you're selected and then ask you to share more details on your project. But do take the time to let us know the project and the goals of the project and what you need, so that we can accurately select you and match you. Okay, next is the obvious demonstrated focus and commitment to social justice and women's rights. and serving underserved communities in particular. Thoughtful applications. So just, take a little bit of time and share with us and give us as much information as you can. Okay. Yes, we do have one question here. Could you give examples of what kind of project ideas you might expect to see and or are looking for? Absolutely. We're going to go to project ideas in just a couple of slides, and so we can absolutely give you an example. Thank you so much for that excellent question. Okay. And then we would really hope that most organizations will send at least 2 team members to San Francisco for the program. You can send up to 3, but it's really ideal to send at least 2 because then, you have a colleague to work with and to experience it with together and learn together. Also, you're going to be assigned a team of, up to 5 advisors. So it's ideal if you have at least 2 of you to work with them. So try to do that, but we won't disqualify you if you can only send 1. Because we do understand that some organizations are very, very small and don't have that possibility. Okay, it looks like we have another question. Okay. Yes, we're going to save that question, Anna, in just a moment. So, and then the last is that applicants express interest in applying and being considered for a Tech2Empower Impact Fellowship. So one of the goals of the program this year is, we love the idea of bringing everyone together in San Francisco for, an intensive experience. We really want to do more follow-on support, and so does our community of tech advisors. So last year we did 2 fellowships last year in one community. We're in New Orleans, and we worked with 2 organizations in New Orleans, and we took a group of tech advisors for a 3-day visit to visit with the community, do hands-on project work with the organization, and then also do a community event and training. So these organizations were able to do outreach to all of the local groups that they work with in the social justice space and invite them all for a training event. And we had a team of advisors from YouTube there, along with Beth Cantor, who presented on YouTube channel promotion, digital strategy, defining personas, and more. So it's a great opportunity to not only get follow-on support from the event, but also to have this group of people in tech who primarily are living, in Silicon Valley and the San Francisco area, to have an experience in your community and learn about the challenges you're facing and the great work you're doing and the incredible people you're serving. It's a cultural exchange as well as professional experience. And so that's important. We think it's really important these days where there's geographic boundaries and, divisions that, we feel it's important to have this cultural understanding as a part of the program. So that's something to consider, whether that would be something you'd be interested in as an organization. All right. So Anna, don't worry, we're going to answer your question, and we're going to get to the projects, and we'll answer your question as well. Right. And so Impact Challenge Team Project. So this is what you're going to be proposing in your application and what will be undertaken at the hackathon style event with your advisor team. So as we've talked about, each organization will be assigned a team of advisors, up to 5, with skills to support the project. The teams will work on the projects for an 8-hour event on March 8th, which is International Women's Day. So it'll be hands-on work on your computers, getting the job done with a team there to support you. And on your application, you can propose up to 3 projects. We'll select one of them that's most appropriate for the skill sets that we have in our advisor pool. So here are some project categories. So it could be, say, helping create a digital strategy for a new campaign your organization has, helping you think through the redesign of your website. Now, website is an interesting one in that, you know, if you already have a website, which I'm sure most of you do, but if you already have one and you have your own platform for it, we're not necessarily going to be able to provide a team to work on that platform for you. If you don't have a website, we can probably provide a team who can help you build one on a free platform. But that one is a little trickier just because of all the different website platforms. But still, a lot of opportunity to maybe focus on user experience, content, and then communications projects. Marketing strategy and branding, so that's, you know, and I hope I'm kind of giving some project examples here. That could be something around, you know, looking at your brand and getting feedback about your brand, you know, kind of thinking about positioning, and jump in here, Jana, if you have anything to add, but like positioning your brand, looking at your competition in your space.
And also, I think doing like a fund or donor strategy and how you can do the marketing to reach them. We saw that in.
Yeah, so fundraising strategy and marketing for fundraising. You know, Gianna's our marketing expert here, which is why I turned to her. She's amazing, and there's a lot you can do to promote your work and your impact without spending a lot of money. So it could be that. It could be something around planning, organizational planning and strategy. Not all of the advisors that we have are like techies. So they may work at companies like Google or Facebook, but they could be working in business units. And so if it's something around, you know, strategic planning, 5-year plan, maybe you have a plan you want feedback on, or, you know, but really think about projects. They don't all have to be tech, and they certainly, I should emphasize this, are not engineering projects. I mean, we often think of, at least here in San Francisco, think of hackathons as building code for applications, but that's really not what this is about. So we don't imagine that anyone will be building an app during this event. But if you think your organization needs an app, then there may be an opportunity to think through the needs of what you need for an app and whether the app really makes sense for your needs. And then perhaps to do some planning, like creating a scope of work for the app that you're hoping to create. And perhaps it's a fellowship opportunity, but we don't anticipate anyone building apps. So don't think engineering and coding type projects. Okay, and then administrative systems, that could be CRMs like Salesforce. We'll likely have some Salesforce folks with us as the advisor teams. So if you have a Salesforce database and you need support on it, that's a potential project. However, I would say if you're proposing Salesforce CRM project, then please try to propose a secondary project as well, because you know, there may be several people proposing them, and we just don't know how many teams from Salesforce will have yet, as well as other databases if you use something else.
And also maybe like platforms and systems for project management that we know almost all nonprofits need and have needs on that. So this falls in this category also.
Yeah, that's a great point, Gianna. Last year, we spent an evening at Slack, and they did a 2-hour workshop on Slack, which is a platform for team communication and project communications and planning. And then, of course, there's other systems like Asana and others. But, you know, think about what you really need and what your team would use. And then lastly, pitching your organization to funders, investors. Like if you don't have a pitch deck, or you don't like your pitch deck, or the deck that you use to present to funders or others, and so you want to revamp it, you want help with design, content, you want feedback, you want to practice with the group, that's a project here that could be really good for a one-day project if it's something that you need. And strangely, this isn't on here, but I think it kind of falls under digital strategy and communications. But another option would be some sort of video planning project, like where maybe you have some footage and you need support on, planning your storyboard or editing it. That could be something that you might be able to work on a bit at YouTube the day before, but it could also carry into the project. So I hope that gave you some ideas of the types of projects. Okay, so, okay, let's see, thank you. Okay, great. I think I know that we have one more question I haven't answered yet. So I'm gonna do that now before we get to the fellowship opportunity. So we had one question saying, I wonder, in the past, have you seen financial partnerships come out of this, such as Google becoming a donor for the nonprofit? Not that I'm aware of in terms of funding, but I mean, I would say it's not out of the question, but there's a lot of organizations trying to get funding from Google. And so, just like any funding relationship, it takes time to build that. And so it is an opportunity to gain allies at companies like Google, because you'll spend a whole day working with them on your project. And then if you apply for the fellowship, they'll come to your community, which we'll talk about in a moment, but they'll come to your community, meet your organization. The fellowship is probably a better opportunity in terms of, really engaging with a potential funder. And actually, now that I'm talking about that, I will go back and say that in the fellowship we had last year for New Orleans, we did take a team from YouTube. And I know for a fact that a couple of the impact advisors who went with us became donors for the local organization. And those funds are matched then by YouTube/Google. So, but it's certainly not the reason to come, because that doesn't always happen. Even for us at Wake, it's not easy to get money, actual money from these large companies. But it's a great way to build relationships with them. Let's see, another question. How many hours are required from us for the program? 2 days prep and 3 days workshop and 1 day wrapping up. So in terms of prep, the main prep for the program prior to arriving in March would be to complete the project forms that we send you, the forms about travel. Obviously, and we'll get to this, but you'll need to arrange your travel and book your accommodation. And then, that's pretty much the preparation. But providing the information that we need in advance for your team is the most important thing. And then you're arriving here and you're gonna have 2 days of working together before the third day, which is the hackathon event. So it's 3 days here. And then when you get back home, there'll be, at least a post-program survey, so we can find out how you like the experience, how you benefited from it. And there'll definitely be something, some kind of communication or closing with your advisor team, whether, most likely it would be you sending something to them, updating them on your project and thanking them for working with you and just like trying to stay engaged with them a bit. And then if you decide to apply for the fellowship, then you could potentially have some more time with the program. So I hope that answers your questions. Let me know if it doesn't. Okay, so let's talk about the Impact Fellowship opportunity. So this is post-March. So this is not part of this application that's due on the 22nd. Just to make that clear, this is something that you can apply for after March if you come in March. And so last year we had one Fellowship, and you can see this photo here. This is in front of the Planned Parenthood in New Orleans, where we were there with the New Orleans Abortion Fund and a team from YouTube in August, and we spent 3 days there, and we learned a lot about the issues that the organizations there are facing, and about the local community, including visiting Planned Parenthood and other groups. And then the last day was a community event and workshop. So that's what I mentioned. We did a training for the local organization. So, I mean, the benefits of the fellowship are enormous, I think, in that, you know, you get a follow-on work on your project, which is great, you know, but I think the most important benefits of this are having the people in tech, the advisors who come and learn about your organization, see it in person and hear it directly from not only you, but the rest of your team members who don't get to come to San Francisco. And then they get to meet with some of your partners or your beneficiaries in your community. And a lot of organizations have said, you know, one of the things that comes out of Tech2Empower is they feel like they get more visibility in their community because they're seen as thought leaders, and they bring together through, for example, this event, they bring together lots of groups for what can be, depending on, you know, where you're coming from, an exciting thing to have, you know, a group coming from YouTube or Google, because, you know, it doesn't happen every day, everywhere. So it can be really fun. And the advisors are super excited to be there. So it's a great opportunity for them as well. So that's the fellowship, just to know, okay? All right, so I'm gonna come back to Q&A, but first say, just in case anyone does need to jump off, the application is open until the 22nd. So midnight Pacific time, but I doubt that I'll stay up to close it, but be sure to get it in before midnight anyway. And yeah, if you have any questions that come up while you're completing your application, just send us a message. It's on our website, but it's on the application, but it's connect@wakeinternational.org, but you can find it on the application, so don't worry. One last thing I wanted to say before you jump off and we get into Q&A is that some people, I think, are hesitant to share this opportunity too widely just because they realize that it might be competitive to get chosen. But one thing that we are looking to do is to have cohorts of organizations from communities. So if, let's say, you were in Mississippi, you know, we will select just one organization from Mississippi potentially, but we prefer to select 4 organizations from Mississippi. The reason for that is we want them to be able to be here together and have that shared experience and collaborate together. But then also for the fellowship, we aim to have more than one organization participate in a fellowship per region at a time so that we can take a group of more than one group or a larger group of advisors to the community and have a combined community event. So please don't hesitate to share the opportunity with your community or other partners and encourage them to apply as well. Because we really will take that into consideration with selection, is not only getting good diversity of organizations coming, but also cohorts in geographic regions or partners.
We have a lot of questions.
We have a bunch of questions. So if you have to jump off at any time, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time. We know you're all very busy with very important work, so we appreciate you being here. Don't hesitate. There's our email address right there, connect@wakeinternational.org. We're here for you. We hope you apply and keep up your great work. And for everyone who can stay, well, let's get into the questions. All right. How much time will we have to work on particular workshops? And will these be entry-level workshops, or will they be tailored to the expertise of each individual group? That's a really great question. Thank you so much. Okay. So part of that is because we don't know who's coming yet, all of you, we don't know exactly what workshops we'll be doing because it'll be based on your needs and your own levels. So last year, I know that the person who asked this question was with us last year. So this year, we will be trying to break down a little bit based on level. For example, when we're at YouTube, if there are people, organizations in the room who don't have a YouTube channel, have never posted anything on YouTube or quite unfamiliar, then they're going to be in a beginner group that is going to be about launching your YouTube channel, how to do it, how to design it. And then there'll be a separate group that will be more like, okay, you have a channel. Now, how do you promote it? How do you build out your content? So there will be opportunities to break out based on level. What on particular workshop? Okay. How much time will we have? Okay, so how much time will we have? So we will have Wednesday afternoon, March 6th, there'll be some sort of workshop or tech training. We may have one in the early evening, potentially that's optional, but that's to be TBD. Then on Thursday, we'll be at YouTube all day. So that'll be video making. So it really, we're having a strong focus on the video this year and channel promotion on Wednesday because we're getting those questions more and more about video making. So YouTube has generously offered to let us be there the whole day and provide more hands-on work on that. So great question. I wish I could answer it fully, but I don't know exactly what workshops we'll have on Wednesday afternoon, but it'll be based on what you tell us or in your application that you need and what you tell us once you're selected that you need. So thank you. Yeah, so will this webinar recording be sent out to everyone? Yes, we'll send you a link. It'll take a few hours for it to download, but then we'll send a link to everyone so you can share this if you need to with your colleagues. Okay, the next question, how many organizations do you expect to participate? Great question. So we're planning for 20 to 25 organizations total with, 2 to 3 people per organization. So, already you can see that, that could be up to 60 people. Last year we had 35 organizations with us, which was amazing and we loved it. But because we're trying to do the hands-on project work this year, we wanted to try to keep the group smaller and make it more customized. And it's a shortened experience of 3 days. So we're expecting 20 to 25, but it will really depend on the applications we get. And if we're able to take more, we will. Okay, next. I think it's outlined on the website, but could you quickly review the costs? Oh, thank you so much. Participating in the orgs will be responsible for it. Yes, it's so funny. I have this up on my screen. I'm really glad you asked that because that is something I wanted to talk about. Okay, so contributions. So what we're asking each organization that attends to make a contribution to the program based on a sliding scale based on your annual budget. It is on the website, but I'll just run through it really quickly. Actually, I wonder if I can share this. I think I can share this, right? Let me try to share this and see if it'll work so you can actually see it. So hold on one second. Bear with me. I'm going to try to share it. Here it is. Aha. Okay, there we go. So the sliding scale is the lowest rate is $125 per team. So that's per organization with an annual budget of less than 200. And then you can see from there, it goes up to 250 per team. So if you have 3 people on your team, it's still 250, 500, and then the highest rate is 750 for organizations with budgets more than $1 million, annual budgets more than $1 million a year. So that's what we're at. That's what you would contribute to participating in the program and getting the support. We are currently trying to raise funding to be able to provide some support to organizations for travel, but we cannot guarantee that at this point because it's fundraising we're currently doing, and we don't know where we're going to be. So, but let us know in your application if you need funding, absolutely need funding to attend. If you can do it without requesting funding, that's better, because then you're not, taking funding from someone else who won't be able to attend without it. So, yes, there you go. And then also you do have to get yourself here and pay for your own accommodation. So, so for accommodation, last year, because I know there are a few organizations who were with us last year on the call. Last year we had a hotel and a group rate, but we're trying to keep it more affordable for people, and we can't actually get the group rate we got for you last year. And so we're going to provide, if you're selected, you'll get access to, a private site for all of us with information about options for accommodations. So a lot of people want to do Airbnbs these days. We'll have some less expensive hotels listed, but you will be responsible for that on your own. And then for local transportation. Okay, so there was a question, does that cover does the fee cover transportation and lodging? No, the fee does not cover transportation and lodging. That you are responsible for, except for we will provide transportation to you too, because that is not in San Francisco proper. It's just south about 20 minutes, but we'll have a bus for that. For the other days, we will be in San Francisco, and San Francisco has a very comprehensive public transportation system. So you'll just need to jump on a bus or the metro to get to the companies that are going to be hosting us, Google and our host on Mondays. So we will be providing, in terms of what's included, it's all of the support work to prepare all of this for you. Of course, we're fundraising for that. We're getting contributions to support that. But we will provide most lunches, some dinners, and some breakfasts for the 3 days. So, there'll be food available to you at the companies where we are. So you shouldn't have to spend much on food. You will need to spend money to get on the bus and things like that, but it shouldn't be a lot. So we really hope it doesn't prevent a lot of people from coming, because we want to make this as affordable and accessible as possible. And our dream is to be able to provide lots of scholarships in the future for this program. But we're just not quite there yet, but we're working towards that. Okay. Thank you, Anna. Okay. For project proposals, is it okay to have just a general idea and goals and to tap into advisors' expertise to design the project, or do you prefer ideas that are more well-baked? Great question. So, for your application, it can be more general, but you should give as much information as possible so we can match you with the right people. But but what I will say is the second part of your question, we don't think it's a good idea to wait until you're with your advisor team and matched to, define the goals of the project. You'll do that but it should be the second time you do it with their feedback, because you just won't be able to make as much progress during the event on your project if you don't have the well-defined goals in advance that your team has already reviewed and the skill sets have been matched based on what you've given. So you can apply with more general project goals and ideas, be as specific as you can. But if you're selected and confirm participation, then you will have to provide more details and think it through. So then you'll probably need to go back to your other team members and talk through the questions that we send you so that we can then post them on your project webpage for your advisor team them to access so that they can get really familiar before they're actually working with you. Hope that answers that question. All right, 2 questions. Given that geographical location is a factor in the selection criteria, would national organizations still be considered? Yes, national organizations are absolutely going to be considered and welcome. So when you say national, what I understand by that is an organization that works across the U.S., but perhaps is based in, I don't know, Washington, D.C., or maybe a major city like New York. So I'm not sure, but I will say that yes, national organizations are welcome. The primary work and the beneficiaries have to be in the United States or territories. So not organizations that are based in the US, but working primarily in Uganda or another country, for example. Okay, second question here. You mentioned that engineering is not the focus of this hackathon style event. So would you say that projects should not involve coding? Well, we might need to connect, we might need to talk about what that is more. I don't want to say no, because we certainly will have engineers with us for the hackathon style event. I think the reason that I emphasized that was because many people think, when they think hackathon, they literally think it's a bunch of engineers who are going to write code and build an app, and at the end of it, you have an app, and that's what you walk away with. And that's not what we mean by this event. However, if you have a very, very well-defined app that you've already, done your research on what you want, why you want it, what exactly you need, and you know that this is the solution you're looking for, then you could propose that. But what I would recommend for you, if that's what you're thinking, is that maybe you send an email to us describing what you're thinking, or you put it as a secondary, as one of your projects, put more than one, so that we can look at it and say, I wonder if we have a team for this, and we can reach out to the engineers in our pool of advisors. So thank you. That's a really good question. And yeah, we may be able to do it. So I don't want to discourage you, because certainly the resources are here. It's just a matter of how complicated the project is. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's in the follow-on. That's great. Okay, any more questions out there? All right, no more questions. Did we answer them all up there in the chat? Okay. All right, share about the selection criteria. Yeah, so let me go back to that slide. Just a second. And if you need to go, I understand we covered this. So if you need to go, please do feel free to go, and best wishes, best of luck. And we hope to get your applications if this is a good fit for you. Okay, so there was a question about selection criteria. Selection criteria is listed here. It's also on our website, so I don't want to go through it again because we did already go through this, but just the main thing is to outline your tech or comms project. Thanks so much. We're excited to get your application too. Thanks. Say hi to Noreen for me. Okay, so clear and focused tech project, that's really important. Obviously the focus of your work is important, and that you take some time in your application, that you can send at least 2 team members. I mentioned that we hope to get more than 1 applicant per community, state, or region. because that builds community and collaboration, and we would like to bring fellowships to communities with more than one Tech2Empower group. So those are the selection criteria. It's all on our website. It's also listed in the application itself, and it's due on January 22nd by 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, so the email address, if you can see the screen right now, Yen, yeah, and John is going to type it for you, but it's also on the screen here. It's connect@wakeinternational.org. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, it's been lovely having you all here. I wish I got to see you all. Gianna and I would love to see your faces and hear your voices, but it's a big group today. So we'll just look forward to seeing hopefully many of you in San Francisco in March. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a fabulous day wherever you are. Keep up your amazing work, and we hope to meet you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Try to put chat because I am afraid people send me directly to you. No, right?
No.
It's the normal one. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. We're going to end this meeting. So take care. Best.